I'm Mike Hittinger, and this is my family, my wife Melissa, my daughter Quinn, my son Kale. We run Rafter 2M Farms and Stone Ridge Veterinary Services here in Westlock County. So Rafter 2M Farms is the farm side of our business, and we will calve about 160 or 70 cows. There's Speckle Park Cross and Angus Cross cows. We usually background our calves, or a good chunk of our calves, through the winter, and we do a small bred heifer, bit of a bred heifer business, so we sell some bred heifers. Do a few different things to boarding animals and stuff like that associated with the vet clinic.
We have Stone Ridge Vet Services, which is a mixed animal practice based out of the yard here. Still do some farm calls, but also quite a bit more in-clinic stuff now. Started the clinic in 2013 after I had worked for some other clinics and then had 2 maternity leaves. Decided that I needed the flexibility to be able to do my own thing, to be there for the kids and the farm when needed, but also be able to continue with my career. So Stone Ridge Vet Services came about in January of 2013.
When we moved out here, we were shocked that the bank gave us the money for this. So we had cows, and we had the property, and we had
our net worth included textbooks and couches.
Yeah. We every now and again we look back at our net worth statement from when we applied for that loan, and just I can't believe they even took thumbtacks as equity. So all through that time, I worked out. We had off-farm jobs pretty well all the way through until this year. So from 2005 to 2020, I worked off-farm while we ran the farm here. And then here in March of 2020, I left my job with the Alberta government to make my dreams come true here on the farm. So that's where we're at right now.
What I like about having the practice at home and having the farm at home and having Mike at home is that we're there for all that stuff, and because we're in charge of our schedules, essentially, I can still block off time to go to the kids' Christmas concert. And because the clinic's right in the yard, it's not that there's not much travel. I just whip out and come back, and I can still be there for the family stuff. Any issues we have on the farm, I tend to not be around for. As it works out, all the calls that Mike needs me for, I'm gone. But we try our best. But it is nice to be able to just walk across the driveway and go to work in the morning and walk home. And the kids get off the bus and they come over and visit, and that's pretty important to me.
Or do a bit of chores if she needs any help.
And we also take advantage of child labor.
Every once in a while, well, quite often when I was working out, we'd be getting behind on things, and I'd be, my thought was always, well, I don't have to work out. This won't be a problem anymore. And I'll be home more, and I'll be able to take care of things, and God forbid, see the cows in the daylight. We'd spend all winter feeding every night after work, and he'd feed after work until 11:30, 11:30 at night, and everything in the dark all the time. And if you were fixing anything, it was in the dark. And if you were feeding, it was in the dark. It was always, during the winter. And I thought when I left, if I could just leave the job that had me working out in an office all day during the daylight, even it would be a perfect situation would be to have the two reversed. It's nice to be home for the kids, to be home for whatever's going on. You get your work done, your farm work done during the day, and maybe have evenings and weekends to actually do something every now and again that's not work related. I think the thing to think about when you're going to make that switch is, do you have some kind of a buffer? I mean, it's really easy to look at things, and especially after you've had a particularly good year, and say, okay, now's the time, we can do it. But I know, like, I wrestled with, this year was good, but what happens if we have two bad years right after that? When you look at it economically, at this point, with our farm being the size that it is, and the things that we've got going on, my off-farm income just wasn't going to really pull us out of a wreck if we had one anymore. You know, and at the same time, we looked at what the opportunities were that we were passing on because of work, and I said, you know, we're passing on more opportunities now, more chances to improve or either improve, save money, or make some extra. We're passing on those opportunities because of that day job. So that was kind of one of the big deciding factors. Would we be able to do this with the farm size that we're at without anything else? No. At this number of cows, we would still need to work out. Between the, you know, what we're doing on the farm and the clinic and some of the other opportunities that we can now take advantage of, now it works.
I think the biggest thing when we look back on it, and 10 years ago we sat with friends and we're like, how do you do it? How did you just quit your day job? His wife stayed home, they had 3 kids. Like, how are you doing this? And they just said, you know, it just works out. You just make it happen and we're like, yeah, that's a little risky. So we chose not to for at least 10 more years. And I think you just have to evaluate how risk adverse you are and how you tolerate uncertainty. And I know for us, we really like to have stuff in place, some safety nets, some plan Bs, some, you know, keep some doors open just in case stuff doesn't work out. And until all that kind of rolled out, we weren't really ready just to wing it and see. Where a lot of people do, and they do great. We know people who do, they're very aggressive and they take those big risks, and for some of them it's worked out great, and for others it doesn't, and we tend to remember those ones that doesn't, and we're like, we'll just be a little more careful. I mean, starting the vet clinic was no different, you know, starting from absolutely nothing with a 0 client base and just investing all that money, and to quote the movie, if you build it, they will come, was kind of our philosophy, and it did. And it worked, and it's working, I should say. For us, it was, you have to evaluate how comfortable you are and how you sleep at night with the decisions you make in the day. And just being fully bold and aggressive was not something that we could sleep with at night. And so maybe it took us a little bit longer, I guess. Years ago, somebody said, you know, you'll just know the right time. You're gonna balance work and farm, and you're gonna do that for however long, and then it'll just come. You'll just know, there'll be that tipping point where you can't do both anymore, and you'll just know, and that's the time. But they didn't tell you that it was like a 10-year span of too much before that tipping point finally came. It wasn't a one-day event, it was a many-year tipping point where you're like, this is ridiculous, we can't do this anymore. I think when it comes to quitting your day job and farming full-time, it's a personal thing. No 2 people will be the same, and no circumstances the same. So, but I think more importantly is having an open conversation with other people. And I find a lot of producers are very shut about their operations. They'll tell you what's going great, of course, and how everything they do is wonderful and it just happens. But we all know that's not true. And I think if we could open up a little bit more and be a little more neighborly, you could learn from each other's mistakes and take advantage of those things.
I do like helping with the vet clinic. It's pretty fun.
Oh, my favorite animal on the farm is the pig.
Mike, can you talk about the pig?
Oh, Daddy hates him.
Why? We were having a good time.
Dad really does not like the pig.
Dad wanted to sell him for bacon when Mom got her for her birthday.
I like being around all the animals on the farm. That's my favorite thing about being on the farm.
Sometimes I like having them at home, and sometimes no. Dad helped me with my shell collection, which I really enjoyed, and Mom helps me with my chores and helps me clean up my room. But there's one thing that I do hate, cleaning up my room.
Okay, so I'm...
Oh, first?
Stop
Cut!
it now.